Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're finally going to talk about that new Spider-Man animated series. I know a lot of other people were talking about it because they're race swapping a lot of characters. I really didn't care one way or the other. I was just like, whatever, it looks dumb and it's just a cartoon. But what's really interesting now is the star, the guy who's doing the voice of Peter Parker, apparently is coming out and saying that he was afraid the show was going to be woke. And the fact
and annoying.
Woke and annoying, because those are usually the same thing, right? The fact that they've got him out there saying this, or the fact that he did say this, tells me that they're very aware, one, of what the audience expectations and reactions were going to be, but also that, like, we need to talk people into watching this show. Like, guys, seriously, it's not woke. Even though the first images that leaked had a race swapped Harry Osborn who had a man bun and looked kind of femme, but maybe he just has a man bun. I don't know. I do overall like the animation's kind of janky, but I like the art style. It looks like every frame looks like a comic book. But I don't really care one way. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this thing, it's a cartoon. It's a spin-off cartoon. Like, I don't give a shit. But it's very interesting that we've got the lead actor coming out and saying, "Yeah, I was afraid it was gonna be woke." Mm-hmm. That is wild. So things definitely are changing.
Damage control.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that. And speaking of Spider-Man and wokeness, we'll talk about this as well. Spider-Man 4, the Tom Holland Spider-Man 4, not Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 4, which would be pretty cool too. But yeah, there's gonna be a new love interest for Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and you said, well, be a woman, because
I had reason for asking that question. Yeah. I had some good reasons for asking that question.
Yeah, I mean, I said Gwen or Gwenda.
Yeah, right. Like, look, most people say it's probably gonna be Black Cat, which I agree. It's probably gonna be Black Cat.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to clownfishmiles.com, join the Reef, buy some merch. Also, you can join the Reef here on YouTube and locals. And yeah, the reason we're concerned, well, maybe we'll talk about this first, and then we'll talk about the anti-woke interview. They've been pushing for Peter Parker to be bisexual for years.
Yeah, they've been saying about him getting a boyfriend, and they keep pushing this. I've heard it repeatedly. See examples of it. So they've been trying this for years, and I think he's even made comments. Tom Holland's even made comments about, well, whatever kind of thing. And that's why I asked, because they said they're a new love interest, but they weren't saying a new girlfriend, know.
In the comics, they've been flirting with, no pun intended, they've been flirting with the idea of Peter Parker being bisexual. People were saying that Tom Holland, because look, I am an older straight man, so I'm not down with all the Gen Z bisexual lingo, but apparently because he had rolled cuffs on his jeans or something like that, he was supposed to be coded bisexual.
Okay, well, a couple things here. One, when I was in high school, everybody rolled their jeans.
Yes.
So I guess everybody wanted it both ways. And then, I wore my jeans sometimes because my legs are hot, and I'm like, oh, I just want my jeans to be shorter today. I guess that means, I'm asking for pussy. I'm just saying.
Every guy in the 50s roll his jeans.
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? So, but they've been pushing this for a while. Andrew Garfield was making comments about it. So, I'm going to tell you the truth, though. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And the fact that we've got the actor from this series coming out and saying he was afraid it was going to be woke tells me that they're very aware at Disney that, like, yeah, we can't go there. I mean, this is the same Disney that recently killed some scenes in some Pixar projects because they're afraid that it would be taken as being, too far down the rainbow. Right. So this comes from Collider. My biggest fear was that it was going to be annoying and woke. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man star shares his praise for the series. So this is Hudson Thames returning from What If Season 1 reprised his role as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. His career has been largely quiet since making his Marvel debut a few years ago. He is featured in one episode of Ghosts. Oh, yeah, Ghosts. I mean, I keep forgetting that exists. But he sat down with Collider and talked about it. He said, I thought it was awesome, the script when he got it. I mean, my biggest fear was it was going to be annoying and woke, and it wasn't. I was like, yeah, this is great. It's so well written. It feels real. I'm the oldest of 5 boys, so it feels like the kind of show that's happening in their lives and in high school. It feels like I was doing it justice. That's really different from what would have been said or how the show would have been promoted just a couple of years ago.
Right. Well, they want to make money. They want people to watch it.
Spider-Man, the character, is probably Marvel's biggest revenue driver. Like the Amazing Spider-Man comics have been dog shit, but the comic books are secondary to every other media featuring Spider-Man, and Spider-Man toys sell like crazy.
Oh yeah, I always get requests for Spider-Man and for Marvel toys and stuff when I do toys at Christmas and stuff.
Yeah, so they can't have the new Spider-Man cartoon be annoying and woke if they want to sell toys to normie kids. Right?
I don't think kids would care so much, but the parents might. You know what I mean?
The parents will care. That's what I'm saying. Because parents have the money, right? And that's why I think in Pixar they yank those scenes, because the parents have the money. And the parents are like, oh God, I don't want my kids to be indoctrinated. It's like, I mean, it's bad enough we got Blue's Clues, but like really going down.
Yeah.
Blue's Clues, right, is going that direction. But they're going to look at it and be like, yeah, I'm not buying any Spider-Man toys because Spider-Man is annoying and woke. And now they're going to be, he's coming out and saying it. So Collider, though, they're kind of taking umbrage at this. They're like, woke is a term which more often than not is used as a dog whistle for racism and sexism.
No, it's not. What it is, there's a difference between, okay, this is what pisses me off. I don't like using the word, as people know. To me, it's when you're taking it to the extreme. When you're changing things just to change them, just to put narrative and political stuff into something. Like when you have to race swap a character for no good reason, when you're gender swapping a character for no good reason, when every ginger ever has to be black now for no good reason. Yeah. That's what people mean by that. It is not an alt-right whistle for racism and sexism. Because when you're referring to racism and sexism, people are like, why the hell is this character, this is not this race anymore, it's a different race. Why are they not Asian? Why are they black now? Why are they not black? Why are they white now? Which has happened too. Like, why are they, not this or that? Or sexism. Why is the male character now a woman? That's not racism or sexism. That's asking a damn good question, because it is not for a good story-driven reason. It is because you're trying to insert agenda. You're trying to inorganically make things, diverse and inclusive instead of just making new characters or make it organic. That's the difference. That is what woke is. And I'm sorry if you don't like it. You can stick it up your ass, but you're using racism and sexism. Well,
that would be woke.
I know, but they're
not
using
normally
racism,
sticking things up your ass, and all of a sudden
that's
you
true.
are. Yes,
if they're using racism and sexism here, that is their shield about. Well, it's because people are racist and sexist. No, it's because people are asking the question that everybody else is asking to themselves. Why the literal hell is this character, now a woman who was always a man? Why is a womanizing character who's predominantly been straight suddenly gay? They are very valid questions. It has nothing to do with bigotry. It's just like, what the hell? And we're talking to people even that identify, who are not white, who are not straight, who are not male, asking the same questions. Are they racist and sexist too? Because they're like, what the hell? Sorry, rant over.
That was a good rant. This is coming from Collider, right? So this interview was with Collider, right? And the guy basically said, first thing he said was, I was afraid it was going to be woke. And this Collider journalist is clearly ass mad about that answer. Because the co-star was Coleman Domingo, who plays Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, character who is not inherently white in the comics. Well, not inherent. Actually, there's been a joke about Norman Osborn because in the comics he has very crinkly hair, and they're like, well, maybe he's black coated. It's just like April O'Neil, right? But there's been racist backlash, and
racist backlash probably translate to why the hell is the white character black now?
Yes. Zeno Robinson, I guess, is Harry Osborn. Okay, that's right. But yeah, they have a lot of pretty big names in here. Charlie Cox is going to be Daredevil. That's interesting. Vincent D'Onofrio is going to play Kingpin. It's funny because when Kingpin was black in the 2000s, not a lot of people had an issue with that. This is the thing, because things are annoying and woke and you push it too far, things that people normally wouldn't be upset about. Now they scrutinize every decision because it does look like, okay, this is going to be annoying and woke because you're obviously going down this road, because we've seen this so many times with, again, like you said, the gender swaps, race swaps, the, sexuality swaps. And, when Sam Jackson was Nick Fury, I don't remember many people complaining about it. Some people were like, yeah, whatever, we'll give him a shot.
Well,
and now
I can't. There's characters that have been race swapped, like Nick Fury, for example. I said white to black, and people didn't care.
But it was done well. And you didn't care because he was that character.
And we know that we have Norman Osborn race swapped, and this guy is still saying, I love that this show is not annoying and woke. So even though they race swapped the character, he's like, the way he's describing it is done in a way that's organic and, doesn't feel like it's just done for an agenda purpose. Hopefully it's true.
So basically he gave an answer, which Disney normally they would be clamping down on that. But I mean, there must be an anti-woke sentiment going through the company on some level for him to be able to say that as the star of the show. And now, people are like, well, you're not going to address the fact that he's the only white male. Like, look, this is supposed to be, I guess, a modern reimagining, whatever, of Spider-Man. This is not really canon. It's a cartoon show. It's not the comics. Even the comics at this point, I don't consider them canon. They're fanfic trash.
Wait, if he's the only white guy and he's saying that, though, doesn't that hold some water? You
would think.
But they're mad about that. But that actually should be they should be like cheering this on. Like, okay, look, the one white actor in the show is saying it's not annoying and woke. That's actually to your favor. Like that's actually vouching for you. And that sounds weird, but you know what I'm saying? That should actually be to their favor. So why is he the writer being a dick about it?
Because the writer is pissed that things are changing and that we can openly talk about things being woke. And because there is a difference. There is a difference between just not every race swap, gender swap, whatever is woke. Woke is when it becomes beyond parody.
Mm-hmm, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
I guess this is my personal, how I would define it is you pick the right actor for the right role because they're the right actor for the right role, right? And again, we talked about like X-Men, and I'm not really on board with a bunch of race swaps or whatever on X-Men, but I would be totally fine with Giancarlo Esposito or somebody of that caliber being Professor X, because he's a phenomenally talented actor, and I know he would be a great Professor X, right? Mm-hmm. But it's not stunt casting. It's not done for DEI reasons. And I think the difference is that you're hiring the right people for the right roles. It's not a DEI thing. It's just because they just happen, they've got darker skin, whatever, but they're clearly, they embody
the character.
They embody this character, right? That's just hiring the right person, being colorblind and hiring the right person for the right role. Now, in this particular case, I can guarantee you there were probably mandates in place that were like, we can't have. So as I understand it, and this is kind of the same thing that happened with the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, the reason that Tom Holland in the Spider-Man movies, basically the only white kid, is because that's actually a Disney mandate. I guess they have it mandated that Peter Parker is a white kid from Queens, but modern Queens isn't all that white. So, you know what I'm saying?
So they made it realistic.
They tried to make it more realistic.
And honestly, I never thought about that or cared about that until you just brought it up. Like, I honestly didn't, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, you're right. That's true. But you know what? It never even dawned on me, because why would it? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, that's probably right. I never even questioned it till this moment. So, if you were going to do a modern reboot of Spider-Man in modern Queens, and that's what the director said on and people were pissed about MJ or whatever. The MJ in the MCU is not Mary Jane Watson. Mm-hmm. She's just MJ. But that was the reason they did that, and that was deliberate. I don't know if it was done specifically out of wokeness and some people were pissed off about whatever, but I think it was more like it's. At the time, it was like 2016, 2017. It's like, this is what Queens looks like now if he was honestly,
going to
I noticed that MJ normally is a ginger and she's not. I like Zendaya, so it doesn't really bother me. But I never really thought about it, but I'm writing through the characters in my head and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's true. Because it never even dawned on me to even consider it, because I didn't care, because it was casted well. And I was just like, okay, like, I'm sitting here. It's kind of like on, The Mandalorian, when we had the one episode where they were taking over the bridge, and then you realize after the end of it, you're like, oh wait, it was all women who took over the bridge, and you didn't think anything of it at the time. It was just well done, and then afterwards, you're like, see, it never even dawned on me to think that until somebody else said it, and I was like, oh yeah, because it's done right.
Right. So what wokeness would do is put a huge spotlight on that and then give themselves a pat on the back and say, look, we had this slow motion girl power scene.
Endgame.
Yes, we got to do. Oh my God, guys, this is a historic moment. Let's, whatever. And then we're going to get ourselves an award. It's like freaking, we did the video the other day about Paper Mario. It's like they got a GLAAD award for translating it so that the one ghost is translating it to make it trans, like they or D or whatever transition this cartoon ghost from a 20-plus-year-old game, and they get themselves a GLAAD award, make a big ass deal about it. That's to me, that's wokeness.
If they hadn't said anything about it and just did it and like didn't make a big deal about it, I'd be like, okay, well,
yeah. Now, do I believe that this show probably had DEI mandates in place?
Yeah.
Yes, I do, because that's Disney, right?
Well, he was afraid it was going to end up being annoying and woke, so he must have been some kind of mandates.
Right. Yeah, for him to say that, it must have, because here's the thing, like basically they can change everybody around Peter Parker, but as I understand it, and this is going back to, from what I understand from the MCU, is they cannot change Peter Parker. Peter Parker has to be a white kid living in Queens always. So they can't change Peter Parker, but they can try to supplant him with Miles Morales, or they can surround him with a bunch of non-white supporting cast, because there's no real mandate on them. But there is, again, as I understand it, on the Disney level or the Marvel level, a mandate that this is who Peter Parker is. You're never going to race swap Peter Parker.
It had to be bad enough that he was concerned it was going to be a possibility that would be annoying.
Right.
So, and the fact that it is, that he seems surprised by, like, oh, I'm pleasantly surprised. So that's, a vote of confidence, I guess, unless he's lying.
Or it could just be like he's looking at the discourse around and he's like, oh shit, nobody's going to watch a show. But the thing is, if it is, I guess I'm saying, if it actually is annoying and woke, I would just probably keep my mouth shut. I took the check and be like, yeah, fine.
I wouldn't have said anything, because I wouldn't have said anything.
I would have been like, yeah, it's going to be an effing disaster.
Because by saying that, he just put a target on his back.
Yes. If it were me, I'd just be like, you know what? It's the studio's responsibility. They put it out there. I'm just an actor. I did my part. I got my paycheck. I was watching a video the other night. It got recommended to me when I was working out about Back to the Future and why they got rid of Eric Stoltz. And the reason they got rid of him was he was the actor playing Marty originally, and then they fired him and they brought in Michael J. Fox. But he basically went in there as an actor and was like, yeah, I hate this script and I hate this and I don't like that and whatever. And Leah Thompson was even like, yeah, maybe as an actor, you should kind of keep your mouth shut and not like come in guns blazing and be like, change this and change that and change. Because she's like, you basically want to rewrite the movie at that point. And it's like, no, that's not what you're hired to do. Right.
I think, though, for him to say it, knowing it caused him some issues, he must really think that it's not, or I don't see why you'd say it at all. Why bring it up? Why mention it? Even if you're trying to do damage control, it's going to cost you more damage than saying nothing. So if he said it, then maybe he really wants people to know this because he feels it really isn't. I don't know. But that's what's going on right now. And the fact is that you have to say that so people could watch it, because they're so convinced it's going to be more of the same. That's the actual point of this. They've gotten to a place now where people won't even watch things because they're so trained to know what to expect.
Right.
And now, you have to try to do damage control. I mean, normally you just let the work out there and let, people like it, they like it, but you can't do that now because you've done it so many times.
They did it to themselves. That's the thing. Because what happened was people gave these shows the benefit of the doubt. And after getting burnt time and time and time and time again, and realizing that the ideology and the political messaging and the whatever was what was actually front and center above the storytelling, then they became overly cautious, and they're like, what I'm saying? So you basically, you went the long way around, but you created racism and bigotry by calling people racist and bigots for not liking certain shows. Now they just assume if a show has black people in it or gay people or whatever, that the show is woke.
Yeah, and that's
You
their own
just
fault.
made more racists and bigots.
Right. What doesn't help when the author of the article immediately is like, because they're sexist and racist. It's like, no, people
It's a dog whistle.
questioning why the hell you race swapped or gender swapped characters doesn't make you those things.
A dog whistle. It's an alt-right dog whistle. What year is it, right? So they're going to probably come after him, and I feel bad, but like you said, he stuck his neck out, and I don't think he would have said that without
reason
running it, because they're probably working on the show. They're probably like, oh my God, everybody's going to think it's woke because Harry's black. But I'm like, I actually was looking at Harry, the design for Harry, and it wasn't that he was black, because he had a man bun and he looked sort of metrosexual. And I'm like, oh geez, I see where this is going, but whatever. His new love interest, Harry.
Yeah, well, I that's why I made the joke, because I was like, they said love interest, they didn't say girlfriend.
And
I was like, I know they've been pushing for this, and I was sitting here like, oh, would you be that stupid? I hope they wouldn't be. I'm hoping they wouldn't be, but you never know.
Yeah, who knows? So let's you know what? Let's take you at your word. It's not annoying and woke, and if it turns out to be annoying and woke, then well, you lied. So save your ass. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.